Another week over with. It's been a little bit hit and miss, I won't lie. Had some disappointing days this week, and we were slightly under target, but we're still plodding on. And if you watch this video, you'll find out how I did. Hi, it's Dave here, Amber Logistics, and we're at the start of another week. It's Monday, the 14th of July. It's another warm day. It's been a warm weekend, absolutely roasting. And my company, the people I do most of my work for, they had now for me. Now was down for me. They're not all overly busy, like a lot of places at the moment. It can be hit and miss. So I resigned myself to maybe try and get a job on the CX. And I was sat watching TV with the good lady Sunday evening, and having a quick glance at the CX, and this job that I'm doing now came up. And it was for a long wheelbase job, and it was going from Hyde, which is not too far from where I live, and going to Witney in Oxfordshire. And I always have one thought that, well, I want to get back to rehearse with the band. I've got enough time to get down there and back. However, this is an example of sometimes it isn't always roses and it doesn't always go to plan. And as a consequence, I'm kind of chasing my tail. Well, I'm more resigned now. So essentially, I got to the site where I was collecting from, which was a storage place for an events company. And the agreed pickup time was 8 o'clock, and sure enough, they opened up at 8. And it wasn't long. I was loaded with 3 long ramps, like aluminium ramps that go onto the back of a van or up to stages to help load. So they were long, not particularly heavy, didn't take up a load of room. Strapped them to the van, and off we go. Pretty confident of a quick ETA and turn round. I'd got about 30 minutes into the job when the people who gave me the job telephoned me to say that their customer had asked if I could pick up some additional items, and would I mind doing it, going to the same place. So I asked the address where it was, worked out the length of time taken. It wasn't too far out of my way. It was Spondon, Derby area. And I was going to pick up some boxes from a house address. So we agreed an additional price for that. And off I popped. Got to the house address. I had a contact number. Nobody was in. The lady of the house did say she was on her way and was probably about 10 minutes away. So it's not a big issue. She got there, opened the garage, and there were some boxes of various things for this event and some tools and things like that, obviously for setting up the stage or whatever. But there was one item missing, which was a Starlink, which is like an internet thing. And that had been taken inadvertently by her brother to another storage unit near Pride Park in Derby. So I loaded these items on, then I had to divert to near Pride Park to the storage unit to wait a brother to arrive to unlock the storage thing and bring out the Starlink. And all this is adding on to me day. Mileage wise, it wasn't actually making much difference, but it was really adding on to me day. Got the storage thing, got the Starlink thing, and off I bloody well pop. But I'm not going to get to, it's a football club in Witney, Oxfordshire, now until 1:45. And let's say I give myself 15 minutes to unload, because I know that the chap is on site, and get away at 2. I'm not going to get home till at least 6. Which is going to put me a bit late for rehearsals. I'll still go, but it just goes to show sometimes you've got to plan for the worst and hope for the best. Maybe I should have selected a job that was a little bit more local. Obviously, I didn't know there were going to be these additional drops, and neither did the shipper, in fairness. And also, in fairness, the shipper has compensated me pretty good for the 2 diversions. I'm sure that they're charging the customer. So I've no complaints on that. For those who are curious, the rate agreed per mile on this for a long wheelbase, the initial job, was £1.30 a mile. And then since then, we've been given additional mileage, plus waiting time, plus the drops, which makes it into a pretty acceptable day. There will not be any backload. I've not got time to look. I've got to get back straight away. But still, I'll make money on the job when you take off fuel and expenses. There'll still be a profit. Not as nice as if you've got a backload, but still a profit nonetheless. So that is Monday. Just goes to show you never can tell. And don't count your chickens till they're hatched. But we're making good progress now. And I'll catch you later in the week. Wednesday the 16th. 6:23 in the morning. And we're on the M62 and we're heading to Lincoln. Yesterday we didn't work. Not that I didn't want to, I just couldn't really get any work. I did the rehearsals Monday night with the band. I can't get phone calls, obviously, when I'm in them. You can't hear the phone for a start and don't particularly want to be interrupted. When I came out, there was a missed call from the people who I get a lot of work from, but the message that was on the answering machine was to tell me that it was quiet and that wasn't anything really going. Now, that can be frustrating because it's not their fault it's quiet. But I suppose you just take it for granted that they're going to give you some work the next day. And if they're not busy, they can't. So that meant that I knew that in the morning I'd have to look somewhere else for some work unless they got something during the day. And I did. I got up. I didn't set an alarm because obviously there wasn't any specific job to get up for. And I did put a few bids in on the Courier exchange, but I was unsuccessful with all those bids. And I kind of decided not to bother. So it wasn't really by choice, it's just frustration. There's only so long you can stare at a screen bidding for work. I know lots of people do, and I suppose if I persevered, something might have come up. But it didn't seem all that busy on the Courier exchange anyway. So I decided to do other things, which I did. I got the van washed, did some little errands on. I went and filled the van up at Costco because at the moment, Costco is cheaper than my fuel card. And there is a Costco near me in Oldham, so I thought, well, I might as well fill it up there. And I'll avoid using the fuel card this week because what I generally find, if I don't use it, they put the price down. So maybe a little message from me by lack of use is saying, put your prices down. Anyway, that aside, I got a job for today on the CX. So I saw this in the afternoon, late afternoon, and it was for a hazardous load and it was going to Lincoln. But it had to be there by 8 a.m, which meant collecting it then. So I bid for this job at the rate per mile that I charge for hazardous load and an extra £40 to go and collect it. Don't forget, I'm now responsible for those goods all evening. They've got to be on my van, locked and secure, and then I've got to make sure that the van's going to be safe overnight. Now my van, I have an area where it's parked. We have some land opposite our house that I've cleared, I've fenced, and is cameraed up with security lights on. So it's about as safe as I can make it. So I parked the van there, and then this morning I'm heading up to deliver it. It's a good price because it's a hazardous load, and it gets me to Lincoln early, which is not a brilliant area for work, but I've still got the rest of the day to find another job. So from that perspective, it's good. But I think nothing lasts forever, and I know that the company who I've been getting lots of work from, they're not so busy, and I think they've lost a couple of contracts because, like everybody else, people are taking their work and undercutting it. And these things happen, and there's no one to blame, but I think for the time being, until I can stumble on something else, I may, it's not definite, have to revert to finding a bit of CX work, which won't pay as well, just to tide over until something else comes along. These things happen. Nothing is set in stone. Anyway, so we'll see what we do today. One thing I will say is that, like everybody else, I'm sure people watch my videos and they get a bit fed up with watching me because there's only so much you can listen to a fat bloke droning on. And I like to listen to other couriers, what they do. And there's a chap who started posting daily vlogs on YouTube, and I've started to listen to him, and I do enjoy what he has to say. They're kind of daily vlogs, and they're not too long. They're about 5 minutes, 6 minutes in length. His name's Paul. I think it's Paul. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Paul, so you'll have to forgive me if I've not. Gibbery. They're called Paul Gibbery Blogs or Gibbery Blogs. What I'll do is, if I remember, I will put a link to his channel in the description on this video. Please check him out and give him a listen or a watch, however you want to do it. I do like the way he sets it out. He describes his day. He tells you exactly what he's earned, which for some people they like that. And also usually has a chat about a particular subject, whether it's health as a driver, specialist loads, all kinds of things like that. And he gives you a bit of a bio if you watch from the beginning of how he's ended up doing what he's doing. In some ways, he reminds me of me in a bit, that he's a little bit older, and he doesn't need a magnificent amount of money coming in, but it's worth checking out anyway. So if you get an opportunity, please give him a follow, and you might even enjoy it. Anyway, I'll tune in towards the end of the week on this and let you know how we got on this week. It's Thursday the 17th now, and yesterday I only worked on the Courier exchange. I did that hazardous load down to Lincoln, got that delivered okay. Predictably, there wasn't any work in Lincoln. I did wait for about an hour, see if it would wake up, but nothing happened, so I decided to make my way up the A1 towards Yorkshire, Doncaster, Rotherham. And I actually got another job from Castleford, and that job was a long wheelbase job, and because it was going kind of out of the way to a YO postcode, I can't remember the name of the area now, but it was, it's out of the way a bit. Driffield, that's right. I quoted a price that I felt was fair, that added a little bit on because it was going to quite a remote area, and just to see if it would do. But at the same time, I also quoted for another long wheelbase job going from the similar area but to Huddersfield, which is going more towards home, and the one from Huddersfield came through a fraction of a second quicker than the one to Driffield. But it was one of those jobs that they don't ring you, they just simply send it through. So I opened it, and then it'll ask you, do you want to accept it or reject it? So I thought, well, I'll just have a look at the job. And basically, I decided to reject it. And the reason why I rejected it was because of the ridiculous waiting time charges. It was saying that they don't pay any waiting time until at least an hour. which is unfair. I think 30 minutes after that you should get waiting time. And then it was £10 an hour after that. And it was going to pick up from one of those like distribution centres, and you know, you can wait at those places. So I pressed reject, and at the same time I answered the phone to the other one and accepted that job over the phone to Driffield. And then I was literally around the corner from it, picked it up, 2 pallets, took just over an hour to get there, unloaded, pretty straightforward, and then set off back via York, and I picked up a job in Selby as well that was going to Preston, and that was from some like animal feed place going to another one of their branches in Preston, and it was a pallet of some chemicals, like an additive, but they weren't full ADR, so although they had a hazardous thing to them, they weren't fully hazardous, and it was what used to be called ADR aware. You see, you don't need an ADR license to transport them. So I quoted for that, but not at the full ADR rate, but with a little bit extra on, and got myself to Preston, and then made my way home from Preston, and I was home before 5. And it was a surprisingly decent day's take, considering that I only worked on the Courier exchange. Now, don't forget, the first job that I did was a full ADR job, so that helped. When I got home, the people who do a lot of work for it did actually ring me and ask me if I'd be available today, which I was. Picked up from one of the usual places that we collect from on the other side of Blackburn, and I took that to the Slough, as somebody pointed out to me on one of the comments. And I was in Slough today just before 12. And could I get a job? Now, no chance. Put a few bids in, nothing. It wasn't all that busy, and set a journey home, and the sat-nav took me up the M1 rather than the M6. It felt that was a quicker way, and I passed all the usual places, you know, Dunstable, Milton Keynes, Northampton, Nottingham, Derby, Leicester, and I'm currently now near Wakefield, and I haven't managed to get a job. I give up now, going home. So no backload for me today. It's a reasonably well-paid job down to Slough, but I didn't work Tuesday, so it would have been nice to just make up a bit for that, but alas, no dice. Don't know what's on tomorrow, don't know whether they've got work for me. I will check the CX as well to see if there's anything worth bidding on. It doesn't seem to be bouncing for work even for tomorrow, and it's 10 to 4 now. So, might not get lucky. We'll see, and I'll let you know tomorrow, and then I'll sign this video off for the week as well. And still, no videos have arrived for Show Us Your Van. Looks like people have given up, even the ones who promised to send them. The other person who I referred to, by the way, has contacted me and said that he will send a video. He's just been very busy. Lucky him. Right, catch you tomorrow, and we'll sign the week off. Thursday morning, we're on our way to Trafford Park, but we're stopping here first because it's cheaper than the fuel cards. And at this time of the morning, the queues aren't so bad. Ooh, we should have gone on that one now. I'm sure this guy with this quality van in front of me will be filled up soon enough. 18th today, Friday, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and we are now brimming with Costco's finest, and we've collected our freight, and we are heading to an RAF base in Lincolnshire. It's not actually a big package, this, but it's obviously important for some reason. I expect to get there probably 10:30, 11:15. Not where the place is. I've been before. It is a bit remote, and there won't be any work there. I'll make my way up straight away northwards and then see if we can pick something up, you know, Newark or Doncaster or anything, to head back. Not aiming to work late today. Rehearsing with a different band tonight as a guest appearance because their guy's poorly and they've got a couple of gigs booked in and they've asked if I could help out, and which I've agreed to do because I'm a nice guy and I like doing it anyway. So I'm going to rehearse with them tonight, so see what their set list is like and just double check that everything is in the right key for me, technical terms. Either way, I do like bashing my guitar and having a good warble, so it'll suit me. So I'm going to finish the video at this point because I might get a little backload, top off the week, but essentially the week is finished. I'm not doing a 2-week video because you've got to mess about editing them right down to get it to a reasonable length, whereas just do 1 week one. It's a reasonable length, it's not too long for people to watch, I hope anyway. In terms of money, we're under target this week. If it was just a 4-day week, as in, you know, then I'd have been just about on target. But because it's a 5-day week and I just simply couldn't get any work on the Tuesday, means that we didn't take enough, well, we can say enough money, the target I like to set for the week. We are below that. If I'd have got some work on Tuesday, even half a day's work, it would have been an on-target week, but I'm not going to dress it up for what it's not. I'm a little bit disappointed about the Tuesday, but you know, it happens. And I'm not working Monday. I've got a family commitment on Monday, so next week will be a 4-day week. Now don't get me wrong, a lot of the times I've smashed it in 4 days and then sometimes struggled over 5 like this week. So it's ups and downs, isn't there? Peaks and troughs in this game. And there's no doubt that there is a recession out there and work is harder to come by for everybody. Like the companies, the job posters, the shippers, whatever you want to call them out there, they're in competition with other shipping companies. So they're probably quoting slightly lower prices to get the work. So it's not easy for anybody out there at the moment, and that is why a lot of people have packed the game in, because it's difficult to make it pay. And if you're operating on a very tight margin anyway, the reduced margins that we seem to be getting at the moment are going to see you off. I'm managing okay on the whole. I'm not going to be breaking any records, but I just think of this way. This is what I want to do now until I finish working, so I'm in it for the long haul, and if you adjust your budget accordingly, you should be okay. If it got really, really, really bad, then I'd think again, but at the moment we can make do. So how's your week been? Have you had a decent week? Let us know in the comments. No shows your vans, a bit upset really. Nobody wants to send them in anymore, but if you do feel like it, send us a 5-minute clip of your van. Send it to the WhatsApp. You'll find the number on the website of Anvil Logistics, anvillogistics.co.uk, and show us what your van's like, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and everybody can see for themselves. It gives people ideas, especially if you do certain things about storage or what you carry. All these things come in handy. If anybody can recommend a decent fuel card company, please put that in the comments. I'm not very happy with mine. For them to be more expensive than Costco is a bit rubbish really. They're only just about cheaper than the supermarkets. So if you're using a fuel card, who do you use? I might even do something about fuel cards in the future. It is a valid point really, isn't it? We use them. What's the best way to get the best out of it? But anyway, if you've got any ideas on decent fuel cards, please put them in the comments, and obviously other people can see them. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with this channel. Please give us a thumbs up. All that does, it just helps the channel get out there. And if you want to, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. That doesn't cost a penny, doesn't commit you to absolutely anything. It just lets you know when the videos come out, so it's easier to find them. I'll catch you in the next video. See you soon.